Anna Maria Luisa was the last member of the infamous Medici dynasty, known for their cunning, power and riches. But despite the splendour she was born into, her life was plagued by sickness, scandal and fading power. Yet in death, she pulled off a final, brilliant move that preserved the Medici legacy forever. This is her story. Anna Maria Luisa de' Medici was born in the Palazzo Pitti, the Grand Ducal Palace of the Medici family in Florence, on the 11th of August 1667. As you can tell by her name, she belonged to the infamous House of Medici, one of the most important aristocratic families of late medieval and early modern Europe. The Medici had emerged as a powerful banking family in Florence during the late 14th century, when the city was still a republic. Over the next 100 years, they gradually consolidated political power, effectively controlling Florence behind the scenes. In 1532, they formally became Dukes of Florence, and by 1569, the Medici were elevated to Grand Dukes of Tuscany, marking the transition from a republic to a hereditary monarchy. Anna Maria's father was Cosimo de' Medici, and 3 years after her birth he became the Grand Duke of Tuscany as Cosimo III. Anna Maria's mother was Marguerite Louise d'Orléans, a member of a collateral branch of the French royal family. Unfortunately, her parents loathed each other. Marguerite Louise, a fiery princess, thought Cosimo was hideous and made no secret of it. She mocked him publicly, and legend says she even tried to miscarry Anna Maria by riding recklessly while pregnant. Like many royal women, she had no choice and was forced to marry Cosimo to seal a political alliance between France and Tuscany. In fact, this alliance had been going on for over a century, with the Medici and French crown entwining their bloodlines many times. But the boldest move came in 1600, when French King Henry IV of France took Marie de' Medici, the fiercely ambitious Florentine heiress, as his queen. This was one of several intermarriages, creating a certain amount of inbreeding between the House of Medici and the French royal house of Bourbon. They were also closely intermarried into Europe's other major royal house, the House of Habsburg, different branches of which ruled Spain and Austria. By now the consequences of royal inbreeding were plain for all to see, especially if you looked to Spain. King Carlos II, who ruled from 1665 to 1700, was a tragic spectacle, sickly, disfigured, and plagued by a jaw so twisted he could barely speak or chew. Anna Maria herself was often ill, and it's been speculated whether generations of dynastic inbreeding played a role. Yet, while some blamed her frailty on generations of tangled bloodlines, others claimed that she suffered from syphilis, a scandalous rumour that still sparks debate among historians today. Anna Maria had 2 brothers, Ferdinando the heir, who was 4 years older than her, and Giangastone, who was 4 years younger. But their royal childhood was anything but golden. After years of bitter fighting, their mother abandoned the Medici court and fled to France in 1675, leaving 7-year-old Anna Maria and her siblings behind. They were now raised by their grandmother, Vittoria della Rovere, and sadly they would never see their mother again. One can only speculate on how this impacted the rest of their lives, and the decline of their dynasty. As the Grand Duke's only daughter, the issue of Anna Maria's marriage was an important one from the time she was a child. There was an early proposal to marry her to her cousin, the Grand Dauphin of France, the designated heir at the time to King Louis XIV, though this never came to fruition. Had it done so, it would have constituted another layer of intermarriage and inbreeding between the House of Medici and the French royal house of Bourbon. Other potential grooms in the 1670s and 1680s included King Peter II of Portugal. In the end though, the marriage alliance which her father sanctioned was with Johann Wilhelm Elector Palatine, an important principality in the Rhineland of Western Germany. As part of the arrangement, the Elector Palatine helped Cosimo obtain the title of Royal Highness, something which placed him among the ranks of Europe's kings, despite only bearing the title of Grand Duke. The couple eventually married on the 5th of June 1691. Anna Maria was 24 and Johann was 36, making him 12 years older. During the accompanying festivities, a contemporary observer said this of Anna Maria: "In her person she is tall, her complexion was fair, her eyes large and expressive, both those and her hair were black, her mouth was small, with the fullness of the lips, her teeth were as white as ivory." This marriage was one of mixed success. On the one hand, Anna Maria and her husband shared a love of music and culture, and supported each other in their pursuits from their elaborate court in the city of Düsseldorf in Germany. Yet, the marriage was also shadowed by disappointment, and it may have been tainted by disease. Her husband, Johann Wilhelm, was long rumoured to have contracted syphilis during his first marriage, years before Anna Maria became his bride. Though his first wife died of tuberculosis in 1689, the whispers of syphilis never faded. Syphilis is a slow, cruel disease that can unravel the body over decades. If Anna Maria did contract it, it could explain the chronic illnesses that plagued her, casting doubt on whether the inbreeding alone was to blame. A chilling clue came in 1692. She became pregnant, but then quickly miscarried. After this, she and Johann would have no children. And with that single, lost pregnancy, the Medici line drifted closer to extinction. The childlessness of Anna Maria and Johann wasn't just a personal tragedy, it sent shockwaves through the Medici dynasty. Anna Maria had only 2 siblings, and both marriages were disasters in terms of succession. Ferdinando, the heir to the Grand Duchy, died in 1713 without any children, while Jean Gastone's loveless union with Anna Maria of Saxe-Lauenburg produced nothing but misery, and of course no children. By the time Ferdinando died, the writing was on the wall. The direct Medici bloodline was going to die out. In a desperate bid to preserve his legacy, Grand Duke Cosimo III issued a radical decree, stating his daughter could succeed to the Grand Duchy if no male heir remained. This decree outraged Holy Roman Emperor Charles VI, who declared only he could change the succession laws as the Grand Duchy was an imperial fief. Though he briefly acknowledged Anna Maria's claim, he quickly backtracked, insisting Austria and Tuscany must agree on which royal house would inherit the Medici crown. It's hard to see what Cosimo hoped to accomplish through this. Anna Maria was 46 years old by now, and well past childbearing age. Even if she did inherit the Grand Duchy, there would be no one left to succeed her. Was Cosimo delusional, desperate, or hoping for something else? On the 25th of October 1723, Cosimo III issued a dramatic final proclamation. Tuscany must remain independent. Anna Maria Luisa would succeed unchallenged after Gian Gastone, and the Grand Duke alone would name his heir. It was a last, desperate attempt to control the future from his deathbed. 6 days later, at 81, a staggering age for his time, Cosimo was dead. Gian Gastone succeeded as Grand Duke of Tuscany, ruling until 1737, by which time his eldest sister, Anna Maria Luisa, was still alive and ready to inherit, just as their father had decreed. But Cosimo's final wish was crushed. When the moment came, Europe turned its back on his proclamation and on Anna Maria. Behind the scenes, Europe's great powers were already plotting Tuscany's future. Diplomatic wheels turned in Vienna, Paris and Madrid to place a Habsburg on the Tuscan throne. At first, attention fell on the Infante Charles, future King of Spain, but he was pushed aside in 1736. In his place, the crown was promised to Francis of Lorraine, soon to be Holy Roman Emperor Francis I, securing Habsburg control and sealing the Medici fate. There was little Anna Maria could do. Tuscany was simply too small to defy the will of Europe's giants. The British, French, Spanish and Austrians carved up its future without a second thought for the Medici legacy. With Francis of Lorraine installed, the Grand Duchy remained a possession of the Habsburgs until the fires of the Italian unification swept through over a century later. Anna Maria's time back in Florence was somewhat peculiar. Her husband had died in 1716, and she returned to Florence the following year from Dusseldorf. For the next 20 years, she was a senior figure at the changing court. Anna Maria and her brother Gian Gastone shared little more than blood and bitter resentment. He loathed her for arranging a disastrous marriage to Anna Maria, a woman so unpleasant and fat she became a court punchline. Gian Gastone, meanwhile, lived in vulgar excess, known for vomiting at banquets and cracking filthy jokes. In contrast, Anna Maria became the refined, respectable face of the crumbling Medici dynasty. Ironically, with the reluctant help of her widowed sister-in-law, the elegant Violante Beatrice, Anna Maria worked to salvage Gian Gastone's public image, despite mutual dislike simmering behind every courtly smile. Gian Gastone finally succumbed to what was described as an accumulation of diseases on the 9th of July 1737, dying in a haze of illness, surrounded by clergymen and his ever-watchful sister. With his death, Anna Maria inherited it all: centuries of priceless art, vast estates, glittering treasures, everything except the Grand Duchy. It was now that the new rulers took power. They were known bitterly as the Lorrainers and were despised by the Florentine public. Despite her prominence and symbolic status as the last Medici, Anna Maria Luisa was allowed to remain undisturbed in her own wing of the Palazzo Pitti. There she lived a fairly reclusive life, rarely granting audiences and keeping to her private quarters. Yet, despite her withdrawal from public affairs, she earned admiration for her remarkable generosity, donating what would amount today to over $1 million a year to charity. As she grew into old age, the issue of her health came up, and again the rumours of her syphilitic condition swelled. Accounts of her death on the 18th of February 1743 included statements that she had died with a nodule having appeared on her breast a while beforehand. Understandably, this has led to the belief that she possibly died from breast cancer instead of syphilis, or some other condition perhaps related to the family inbreeding. But the truth is we simply can't be sure. Back in 2012, her bones were even exhumed and studied using modern methods to determine what the cause of her death might have been. However, this study also proved inconclusive, so we may never know what Anna Maria actually died from. In any event, she was 75 years of age by the time she died, and had lived a long life regardless of her long-standing health problems. She was laid to rest in the Medici crypt at San Lorenzo, the very chapel she had helped to complete. Her death in 1743 marked the final dramatic end of one of Europe's most powerful dynasties. The Medici, who had begun as humble moneylenders in Florence and clawed their way to ducal power, were finished. Her father's desperate bid to secure the succession had failed long before. With Anna Maria Luisa's passing, the direct Medici line was gone, forever. Beyond the role she would play in the decline and fall of the House of Medici, Anna Maria is most well known today for her patronage of the arts. The Medici are famous for being the most important patrons of the Italian Renaissance. Lorenzo de' Medici and his grandfather Cosimo, the heads of the family for nearly all of the 15th century, spent the modern equivalent of hundreds of millions of dollars supporting various art schools and the like in the city. Sandro Botticelli, Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, Donatello, and Raphael at various times all enjoyed their support. The Medici family ended up with one of the world's greatest art collections as a result. Back in the mid-16th century, the Medici began building a grand space to house their growing art collection, the Uffizi Gallery. Nearly 2 centuries later, Anna Maria inherited that collection in its entirety, paintings, sculptures, and more gathered over 350 years. Fearing it might be scattered or sold after her death, she took bold, visionary action. She commissioned the Family Pact, a legal decree that forbade the collection from ever leaving Florence. Instead, it would remain intact and open to the public at the Uffizi, preserving the Medici legacy not through power, but through art. In an age before the Louvre, the Prado, and other great museums or galleries even existed, this was a very forward-looking approach on her part. As a result of her decisions, the Uffizi Gallery opened to the public in 1759, 16 years after her death, and became one of the world's first ever publicly accessible art galleries. Today, the Uffizi constitutes one of the greatest public collections of Renaissance art anywhere in the world. It holds famous Renaissance works like Botticelli's La Primavera, Titian's Venus of Urbino, and a wide range of other paintings by great Renaissance and Baroque artists like Da Vinci and Caravaggio. It is thanks to Anna Maria's decisions that the collection remains complete in Florence today, as a testament to the patronage of the Medici family over several centuries. So, the last Medici is therefore one of the greatest art patronesses in history. Thank you so much everyone for watching this video on Anna Maria Luisa de' Medici. I hope you found it interesting. Let me know what you thought of her life down below in the comments, and if you want more videos like this or on Medici people, also let me know down below in the comments. I hope you guys are subscribed and have notifications turned on to get all my videos as soon as I upload them. Anyway, that's all from me, so I'll see all of you in the next Forgotten Life. Thanks.